Testing 1, 2. Good morning, everybody. So today's talk is going to be on consistency. So without further ado, hi guys, my name is Donnie Rouse, and you are listening to the podcast One Life. Consistent results. Anything you want in life is going to require you to have some consistency, some discipline around the thing that you're trying to achieve. This could be results around your body. It could be results around your business, results around building your social media influence. Every single one of these requires consistency of action and discipline to follow through. Let's kind of prove the point further. Think of an accomplishment that you've had in your life, something that you're very proud of. What consistent actions were required in order for you to obtain the thing that you got, the achievement? Next, let's look at something that you currently have, a goal that you currently have in your life. Something that maybe you feel has been eluding you, or perhaps you take a step forward and then you take a step back and it doesn't really feel like you're moving far. What have been the consistent actions required to get the result that you want? More importantly, where have you been falling off? And then also, what has been the thought, what is the thought process that is throwing you off? Right? Because if you're not following through with an action, it's likely there's some internal dialogue that's throwing you off. And then lastly, who can you enroll, or who is it someone in your life that you trust that you could bring on to say, hold you accountable and just kind of remind you of all the value that you're able to deliver, all the potential within you? So this podcast was the result of some conversation I had with my good friend Ryan. We were talking about results in business, and I was relating to him. I was telling him about my cousin who had just hit her 20,000 followers on Instagram. When I was telling him about her result, I was saying, she literally had been posted every single day for I don't even know how long. And it was because of that consistency that she was able to get 20,000. And I'm sure within the next year, there's going to be a tipping point where now 20 is going to be 40 within a fraction of the time. She has she helps people with anxiety. So that's her business. I looked at my own life. I was going, well, where am I looking for the result that I haven't been getting? When I looked at results that I had, for instance, with my body, I had built the discipline up to do the meal prep, to just show up at the gym. Sometimes I don't even want to go to the gym, but I would make it a point just to show up, even if the workout was complete shit. Now, fast forward after the competition, I had been a little bit loose with my workout regimen, as well as my meal prep. I just started getting back into it now. Now I'm just like, you know what? It's the action that matters. It is the action that matters. So I did my meal prep, and now I've been going to work out first thing in the morning. So this way it's done. I don't have to worry about it. But how about the areas where I was struggling, specifically in my business? I like to think that I could do all things at the same time. And, that's one of the things my friend Ryan and I laugh about, because we kind of share the same thing. We have such aspirations for life that we want to do all these things. But the truth is like our focus, all things are possible. You could have everything you want in life, just not at the same time. That's a quote I'd heard that always literally replayed in my mind. Or you can have it. It just may take a little longer, but you still have to have the consistency and the discipline of action. So I looked at it in my own life. I said, all right, well, where am I trying to get results but not seeing them? I looked at this podcast, for example. I'd post every single Monday. I had the post going. And I was always, constantly recording, writing down new ideas for the posts. And then lately, if you've noticed or not, I've been posting maybe on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, just because I didn't get to write down the questions and create the descriptions for the podcast. And there's other things that had kind of fallen off. And I know I have big aspirations for the podcast in terms of the content that I want to give to inspire people to live their best life. But where was I getting hung up? I was getting hung up on thinking, well, do people even find this valuable? Are people even tuning in to see the content that I'm doing? Because a lot of time there will be listeners, people who are enjoying the content, but they don't always make themselves known. They don't always give the feedback. We live in a culture where people usually don't speak up until it's like they're angry at something, and then they'll give their feedback. So there had been moments, a lot of moments, where I didn't know what kind of impact I was having. So I literally had to go on faith and just trust. I received an email this past week of someone who I met at one of the farmers markets. They had tuned in to one of my podcasts. Like, they were like, oh, interesting. Let me do some research on him. They ended up seeing me on Facebook and looked at one of my lives, and they were like, oh my God, what you said was exactly what I needed. And it was related to exactly what I am going through at this moment in my life. It made me realize that, well, yes, all of these things, like that there is reason for me to move forward, that it is helping people, right? Because you don't always see the result that you're going for. It requires you to have faith. It requires you to have trust. It requires you to have a circle of support. People around you who cheer you on. They know what you're going for and continue to move you forward even when you start to doubt yourself. Let's revisit those questions I just said. Bring it to your mind a specific goal that you've accomplished where it took consistency. And just notice, what are the specifics about this goal? Like, what was it about that? Like, what was your reason for wanting the thing? Right? And then what kind of discipline, what made you follow through? Maybe you had someone who was holding you accountable. Maybe you were just holding yourself accountable because it was so important to you. Notice what the keys to that success was. Now look at the area where you're having a challenge. What is the challenge? Where have you been falling short of being consistent and being disciplined? What have been the driving thoughts for this? Like, as I just mentioned, mine was like, well, I'm no good. People aren't getting a benefit from it. I do the same thing with my coffee lifetime. You'll see like this kind of push and pull where I doubt myself. And then I feel confident, like I make these strides forward, and then there's doubt, and then I pull back. And it's this seesaw effect. When I know, if I'm honest with me, like I love my coffee, but it's funny how this doubt thing never seems to really disappear, or that the noise is always in your head. So that's why you need people. The last step is, who do you have around you that can remind you of your truth, remind you of your potential, remind you of the reason why you want the very thing that you're going after? Because your mind is always going to be noisy, right? It's not, the thoughts are always going to be there. It's a matter of choosing what you focus on. And when you have those peers, those people you trust, the people you love, and people who will hold you accountable to the best that you are and can be when you start to move forward. So I hope this in some way gave you kind of a magnifying glass into your own life to see, well, all right, where have I been inconsistent? Where do I need more consistency? And maybe how can you even act out of faith to just trust that the result is going to be there if you take those actions and adapt along the way? The life you want depends on consistent action and discipline. Whatever it may be, right? It doesn't have to be like the travel. I consistently take action on travel, but I love it. I'm trying to make a joke here, but the truth is that we need this discipline and consistency. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please give it a share. If you have any questions, comments, or would like to share a story, I would love to hear it. You could send it to me via email at donnyraus.com, DONNYRAUS.com. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this benefited you in some way to creating the result, getting the thing that you desire most, and also just to push you, or not push you, maybe pull you, right? Because we want the pull, not the push. The pull to just step out and to pursue your dreams, to pursue the life that you were meant to live. Remember, you only get one life. Live it. God bless, and I will see you all again soon.